If you're thinking of bikepacking in the Netherlands, this video is for you. And if you aren't thinking about bikepacking in the Netherlands and you keep watching this video, you probably will be thinking about bikepacking in the Netherlands because it's a very good time. I have bike toured in the Netherlands 3 times and become more and more obsessed with it each time. So I'm very excited to share with you today some of the things I've learned along the way. So let's dig in. Number 1, the cycling infrastructure is exquisite. Mwah! In around the 70s, when a lot of countries were moving more and more towards car-centric infrastructure, the Netherlands decided to do something very different. They decided to go the bike route. They decided to focus on bikes, be bike-centric instead of car-centric. And at this point now, there's over 30,000 kilometers of cycle paths. You can get practically anywhere by bike. The way I've often heard it put is that everyone from 3 years old to 103 years old rides bikes. And you really do see like every age, every kind of type of use of a bike. People are carrying things, they're riding together, it's casual, it's racy, like it's everything. When I'm in the Netherlands, I feel very safe and I feel like I can get basically anywhere I want to get. Often on a completely separate cycle path or in a bike lane or an extremely quiet road. It's just a very, very relaxing place to bike. Number 2 is your route determines how interesting your trip will be. And this is true of anywhere, obviously, but what I found is the first time I went to the Netherlands, at the time I was a bit of a mile counter and I was like, I just want to cover like a lot of distance. And so I got to Amsterdam and I just kind of like booked it across the country west to Belgium in a couple of days. Because there's bike lanes everywhere in the Netherlands, I basically just took the most direct route, which mostly followed highways, which is so cool that there's separate bike lanes that are like basically going parallel to the highways. That's so cool. But in terms of experiencing a country, it's kind of boring. So then my takeaway at the end of that trip was like, the Netherlands is okay. It's like kind of boring, but it's not. It's really not. It was just that I was basically following highways the whole way. So then the second time I went to the Netherlands was when I was working as staff on a bike tour, and we only spent a few days in the Netherlands, but just kind of taking in the architecture and the small towns and the suburbs and the in-between. I was like, I think I really like it here. Like, I think I want to check this out more. So then this trip, coming back to the Netherlands, I really wanted to soak it in a little more. And my partner and I were there for 10 days, bike touring for like about a week. We roughly did from IJmuiden, which is where the ferry comes in from England. We went to Amsterdam, over towards Utrecht, which is a very cool town city. We were only there briefly, but I'd love to go back. And then our plan was to go over, I have to look up the name of it. Okay, please, anyone who speaks Dutch, don't hold this against me. There's a national park that's spelt De Hoog Veluwe. It's a national park. We really wanted to go in there and spend a few days there, but we ran out of time. So we kind of cut south from there and then went back west towards Dordrecht and then to Den Haag, and then along the coast back to Amsterdam. And we took trains for a couple sections, which I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, just so you understand, like that's our rough route. It let us see cities, towns, agricultural areas, a national park, Biesbos National Park. It was a really nice kind of little snapshot and just made me fall more and more in love with the Netherlands. But all that to say, because you can get anywhere by bike, what you will see will vary greatly based on the route you choose. So choose wisely. Editor Sheila coming in here with number 3, which is it's important to research the road rules. And this is of course true anywhere that you're biking. I'll leave some links below with information about the different signs and kind of general road rules that you'll find in the Netherlands. Something that really stood out to me is that they use something called shark's teeth, which are these white triangles that point at you when you need to yield or give way to other traffic. And that was kind of new to me. I feel like I'm often looking upwards. I'm looking for signs, I'm looking for lights, and they do that. There are lights specific for cyclists, there is signage, but they also use these shark's teeth on the ground. And that's really important to look out for, because I found sometimes I, as a bike, would have the right of way when I wouldn't necessarily expect that I would. And there'd be other times that I needed to give way to other traffic. There's a bunch of other important rules. I won't dig into all of them in this video, but I'll leave those links below so you can do some research and go prepared. I always feel like I feel more confident and comfortable on the road when I know what I need to do. Number 4 is the knot system. I've also heard it called the node system. I think its official name is the knooppunten. I'm gonna put it in text. I'm still working on my Dutch. I featured it a little bit in the video I made about the Netherlands, which I will link below. But it's basically this system where they number intersections, and then you can they have an app or maps, and basically connect the points to help you get where you're going. And then you don't need to look at maps on your phone. You can just write down this list of numbers and follow them to where you're going. I think some viewers mentioned in the comments that it was originally started in Belgium, and the Netherlands created a system covering the whole country. Big fan of that. We only used it one day, but if I went back, I would absolutely use it again. It was super fun and super cool. Number 5 is trains are helpful, but have rules. It's true anywhere, but just so you have a bit of awareness, we took trains twice in the Netherlands, and some things to be aware of are, for one, bikes can't go on trains during rush hour. I think that's true a lot of places, it's true here as well, but that's something to keep in mind. And there was a fee for the bike, and the fee was close to how much it was for a person. The doors have logos for where you're supposed to put your bike on. And one time there was a lot of doors where we could go in, and that was easy. And one time there was only one door, and it was of course at the other side of the terminal, and there was no way we were going to be able to get there before the doors closed. So we ended up in an area where we weren't supposed to be. And I hate getting in people's way, especially in a different country. But yeah, we did end up in the wrong place. But generally, I would say it was a pretty smooth process. In my experience, in a lot of different places in Europe, each train company kind of has its own rules. And I believe the Netherlands is the same, where sometimes there's like regional trains versus like cross-country trains and that kind of thing. And the different train systems have different rules, and fees and all of that. So it's always good to check the exact train company, train system, train track you're using to make sure that you understand like what's actually going to be required of you. But yeah, the trains were super helpful. We couldn't have finished our loop without them. Big fan. Number 6 is Dunlop valves are common. For anyone that watched me struggle in that video with a pump that was not designed for my valves, basically over here in North America, working in a bike shop, I've only seen Dunlop valves once or twice, but they are a lot more common in Europe, especially in the Netherlands, and apparently also in Japan. On certain bikes, always so much to learn about bikes. So Schrader valves are basically the ones that are most commonly seen on cars, and I would say like older or more inexpensive bikes would be a generality. Presta valves are the skinnier ones, and they tend to be on, I guess, newer bikes or more performance bikes. These are generalities, don't come for me. And then Dunlop valves are more common in some parts of Europe, Japan, and the Netherlands especially. So there's a simple little adapter you can get and bring so that if for some reason you have to use one of the pumps there, if it happens to be a Dunlop valve, then you can use that adapter with it. It's very small and inexpensive, and that's something I would bring in the future. We did manage to get enough air into our tire to keep biking. Some people said that shouldn't be possible, but I don't know. We were really committed and desperate, so we made it work, but ideally an adapter is helpful. Number 7 is Dutch hills. Dutch hills are the wind. And that is because the Netherlands is so flat that there are very few hills. Other than going up and over bridges, there are a lot of waterways in the Netherlands, and there's a lot of bridges. So other than that though, there are very few hills, but because it is so flat and it is on the coast, there can be a lot of wind. And the wind tends to go from west to east. So you can try to use that to your advantage. We did, in the sense that we were doing a loop, but I knew that the section from Den Haag to Amsterdam, I'd heard was really beautiful. It's along the coast, through the sand dunes, and I knew I really wanted to enjoy that. So we decided to do our loop clockwise so that we would finish with that. And also, I mean, nobody can control the wind, but ideally have a tailwind for that, which we were lucky enough to have. So that meant we started with okay wind and then had a headwind, some crosswind in the middle of our trip, and then we finished with a nice tailwind. So that's what we decided to do. Nobody is master of wind, but that's just something to be mindful of, is that you will have wind. Number 8 is, if you want quiet, choose your route accordingly. And again, that's obviously true anywhere, but something I didn't realize is that the Netherlands has one of the highest population densities in Europe. It's over 500 people per square kilometer, according to Google. So that's a lot of people. And I didn't mind that at all, because for both my first and third trip, but in this case I'm talking about my third time in the Netherlands, I was in Scotland doing like the Highlands, so it was very remote. I saw few people. It was very hilly. There were fewer resources. It was a very more challenging trip. And so when my partner came over to meet me and we went to the Netherlands, the idea was that I was really craving something easier, like a little bit more like bike tour on easy mode. And I think he was excited for that too, and to see the Netherlands. And so we were very excited to just be able to go like from cafe to cafe and town to town, and see people, absorb the kind of like vibe and culture and architecture and intrigue, and kind of be somewhere that is busier. But some people bike pack for the quiet, like for the remote. I'm like somebody that likes the contrast. Like I want to be really quiet and remote, and then I want like access to, museums and cafes and restaurants and culture and stuff. So it's like I like to have both, a balance of both. But for those who are craving some quiet, we didn't make it to that, what's it called again? The national park, De Hoge Veluwe. A couple of our friends did make it there and ride to the national park, and they said they did find it quite quiet, but they were there in the spring, so that might be different, on a weekend or a holiday or the summer or like peak season. So yeah, that's just something to be mindful of. If you are really craving quiet, then I'm curious what the best places would be, because again, the loops I've done have all been in kind of like I would say a busier part of the Netherlands. That's where like Amsterdam and Rotterdam and Den Haag are, so it's a little busier. and it was quieter when we got down to the more agricultural areas in the national park, but still like seeing people regularly. So if there's any Dutch folks watching this and you want to leave any quiet routes or regions, if you're willing to share, if you don't want to keep them all to yourself, which is also fair, definitely let us know in the comments. But yeah, that's something to be mindful of, is that it is like a more bustling experience, but I didn't find it like stressful. Like other than in the cities, there's a lot of people obviously, but it tends to just be, there's people passing you on your bike and it's very chill. It's good vibes, but just something to be aware of. And then my last one, kind of backpacking on that, is that there's lots of routes and regions to choose from. So like I said, that's like the area that I've been in more. But on my video about the Netherlands, some wonderful Dutch people, thank you so much, recommended a lot of different routes and regions, and I'll put some up on the screen right now if you want to screen grab them. I haven't tried any of these myself, but I definitely, every time somebody would recommend me a different route or region, I would Google it and be like, oh, that's really pretty too. So there's a lot of places I want to go back to. There's definitely a good pick. And I mean, that's the thing, when you're in a country that's full of bike lanes, like there's so many places that you can look at to go, and there's just so many different paths. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. If you are from the Netherlands or have bike toured the Netherlands and have any other thoughts, definitely share them in the comments. If you're planning a trip to the Netherlands, I'm so excited for you. I think you're gonna have such a great time. It's really special, and just filming this video makes me want to go back. Take me with you. It's the best. It's the best. I can't wait to go back. Okay friends, see you in the next one. Bye. Just a friendly reminder, if you enjoyed this video, I have a Patreon or a little tip jar. I have links for all of that below. Your contributions really help keep the channel running. Thank you so much. Bye.